Hey guys and fellow whiskey lovers. This is Leon from Malt Mariners aka Whiskey Roads. I'm here on my little English sub-channel from the German Malt Mariners Whiskey channel, and today I'm going to talk about Glenglassaugh with you guys. Glenglassaugh is a Scotch whiskey distillery, a single malt distillery in the eastern Highlands of Scotland, right on the coast. And it's a distillery that is very close to my heart. Just a little background for you guys. I worked for Glenglassaugh Distillery in 2018 as a tour guide. So I lived in Scotland in 2016 around the area of Glenglassaugh, which is in the Eastern Highlands near the small town of Huntly, the home of Duncan Taylor as well, the independent bottler. And Glenglassaugh is around the area. It's, I think, right between Portsoy and Cullen, if I'm not mistaken. It's two little, very nice little towns right on the coastline of Scotland. And Glenglassaugh has always been a bit of I would say, the middle child of the Benriach Distillery Company, which was bought over by Brown-Forman in 2016. If you're not familiar with the company Brown-Forman, they do distribute and produce Jack Daniels. So that's a whiskey you might have heard of. And this company wanted to buy some Scotch whiskey distilleries, and they took over the Benriach Distillery Company, which has Benriach, Glendronach and Glenglassaugh as distilleries. And today I will not taste the whiskies because I already did the tasting in a German video, but I will give you my personal opinions, and I will recap basically all the knowledge that I gathered in two different videos with a good friend of mine, Tim from Whiskey Helden, Whiskey Heroes on Instagram. You can follow him if you like. Yes, and this is basically sort of like the distilled version of these two videos for you guys, so you get all the information that I gathered, or the impressions that I gathered from this video. So Glenglassaugh used to be they were closed for about 22 years, and they were rebuilt and reopened. And basically, Billy Walker, the today's owner of Glenglassaugh Distillery, he sort of how do you say that? He kind of redesigned the distillery and the whiskey. He did a great job with Benriach, with all the wood finishes. They went on the market, and I really like these whiskies. And when he sold those distilleries, Rachel Berry took over as a master blender. And she created a new range of single malt whiskies, which are the core range of the distillery today. I will show you a picture of the former core range. This was the revival, the Glenglassaugh revival, the Glenglassaugh evolution, and the Glenglassaugh Torfa. And the revival was one of my favorite whiskies of all time. It was one of my favorite hidden gems. I really, really recommended this whiskey a lot to people who like Scotch whiskey, who like single malt, and who want to try something they didn't know and was still a really good price point and value for money. In Germany, we paid between 30 and 35, sometimes up to 40 euros for this whiskey. The revival was a no-age statement whiskey. We did not know how old it is. We did know it was matured in bourbon, sherry, and ex-wine casks. It was non-chill filtered and non-colored, and it was bottled with 46 ABV. So I really like this whiskey, and therefore I was very, very interested and very, I would say, almost scared to try the new 12-year-old version of Glenglassaugh, because just the whiskey will get older or will get an age statement does not mean it's a better whiskey than the no-age statement whiskey. And just from the data points, the 12-year-old Glenglassaugh is, like I said, 12 years old. It has 45 ABV, so 1 ABV lower than the revival. It is not set on the bottle itself if it is chill filtered or if it's colored, but I asked the German importer if they know anything about this, and they told me that the whiskey is unchill filtered and non-colored. I personally think it would be great to have this on the bottle. I'll show you the bottle here. and I will show you a picture of the bottle as well. This is the new design of Glenglassaugh. I really like this design. It reminds me a little bit of Erin, to be honest, but I think it's a very nice touch with all the waves up here. There's a new logo inside. Although I have to say that I really liked the old logo. I show you this here on the shelf, not on the shelf, on the packaging. So I really liked this. There was a little logo on there with birds, with maritime birds. I'm not sure how to say the word for this in English, but there was a Latin saying above the two birds saying per mare, per terra, or per terras. And I think this might mean something like over the sea and over the earth or something like that. And I think this had a nice touch. I quite liked this design. It was old school, but you know, I like old school. So let's get back to the new bottlings. Design wise, I liked it. I think it's much more elegant now. And the new version is made up of the 12-year-old. Then we have the Sand End, which is named after the beach right in front of the distillery. It's a very nice beach. I will show you some pictures as well. Sand End, and Sand End is 50.5% ABV. It's matured in bourbon sherry and manzanilla sherry casks. And we have the Portsoy, which is the little town, the little fishing town, or it used to be a fishing town, I think. A little town near the coast, right next to Glenglassaugh. And this is matured in sherry, bourbon, and port cask, which is funny because it says Portsoy. It's the literal name. And this is the peaty version. So basically, this is the following version of the Torfa, and the Sand End is the followers version of the Evolution, so to speak. So basically, now we will get into my personal opinion about these whiskies. I loved the Glenglassaugh 12-year-old. I was really scared to try this because personally, if something changes in the whiskey industry, I'm sure you know this as a whiskey lover. I'm sure you have come across some whiskies that you loved and then they were taken from the market, and then you were really sad because you couldn't get them anymore and you can only buy them on exhibitions or on auctions, and you had to pay a higher price because obviously the price will go up if the whiskey is sold out. So this is the new version. This is going for a price 45 euros in Germany. So I think this is a really good price point for a 12-year-old whiskey with the kind of depth that this whiskey offers. It's much smoother than the Revival. It's much more elegant. It's much more refined. It's much deeper. And me and Tim, we both thought this whiskey was much older than 12 years old. Tim actually said, I mean, we didn't try it blindly. We both knew what we were getting into. But Tim said he thinks this whiskey is actually, he would have estimated or guessed this whiskey to be 18 years old if he would have tried it blindly. Obviously, he didn't, so we can't know if that's the case. But personally, I also feel that this whiskey is older or tastes older, and maybe there's actually some older cask in here. We don't really know. Obviously, 12 years is what they say on the label, but as you guys know, by law, there can be older casks in here. They don't have to be 12 years. They can be older, but they can't be any younger. So we definitely liked the Glenglassaugh 12-year-old. So for the Glenglassaugh Sand End, this was a whiskey that I wasn't really sure about. It's very spicy and very light fruity, like pears and all like gummy bears. Like the Glenglassaugh character is very berries driven and very like candy gummy bear like from the profile. The Glenglassaugh Revival was very spicy, and the spiciness is still here in the Sand End. It's a no-age statement whiskey. We don't know how old this is, and they bottled this at 50.5%. So it's a very strong. It's not a cask strength whiskey, but it is a drinking strength still, but just almost a drinking strength whiskey. So 50.5% is quite high for standard bottling, and I think this is a good whiskey if you want to get to know Glenglassaugh at the character, the distillery character of the distillery. I think this is very much bourbon driven. If you would give me this blindly, I would say this is 100% bourbon cask matured. I think that the sherry and the manzanilla cask might add some sweetness to it, but I'm not really sure. To me, this tasted very much like a bourbon cask matured whiskey. So this of the three would be my least favorite. I still think it's a good whiskey. I still think it's well made, but I personally would not buy this if I had the choice from these three. I would definitely buy the 12-year-old. I'm pretty sure I will very soon buy a bottle of this because it's a fantastic whiskey. And I might buy a bottle of this. This is the Portsoy. It's the peated version, so it's quite heavily peated. Not as heavily peated as Islay whiskies, for example, but I would say me and Tim, we sort of compared it to Talisker. So it's like a medium peated whiskey, medium to heavily peated, but not as heavy as, for example, Laphroaig or Ardbeg or Port Charlotte, for example. So we like this a lot. It's not very complex. The port casks in here are quite nice. You can get this fruity berry, kind of dark berry note, like blueberries and blueberry cake combined with a peaty smoke that comes like from a maritime bonfire, for example, like a fire you will light with seawood. All that kind of stuff. So this is quite nice. It's not very deep, not very complex. It also comes across with 49.1% ABV. So that's also quite high. And my guess is that these two whiskies need the kind of backup volume to sort of perform in the aroma area. I added some water to both of them. The Portsoy could take it. I'm not so sure about the Sandant. That was the one that didn't really change much to the better when I added some water. So basically, yeah, this is my little run through the new core range of Glenglassaugh. Just a little transparency, like a disclosure. I didn't buy those whiskies. One of the guys from the importer Kirsch in Germany gave these bottles to me on an exhibition to try them. They were not full. It was just like some sips in there to try and to share with Tim and some of my Patreons. So yeah, that's really nice. Thank you guys for that. Most appreciated. So this is sort of like, it's not sponsored content. It's basically it's declared as sponsors content because obviously I did not pay for the whiskey, and if I don't pay for the whiskeys in Germany, we have to declare this as advertising. That is the law. Yeah, that's basically what I have to say about the new core range of Glenglassaugh. So here's my question to you. Have you tried Glenglassaugh before? Do you know the distillery? And have you tried the new core range? What do you think? What is your opinion? Do you think it's better, it's worse, it's the same compared to the older bottlings? And yeah, basically, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you down the road.